Hey everybody. All right. So this is going to be the first in hopefully many, posts where we kind of just go over code and monogame. Like we figured that the team was talking about the fact that we probably want to broadcast more and show you more of the inner workings of what we're doing. And we figured this would be a good way to do it. So we'll want to look at today, and I'm going to share my screen here if I can figure out how to do it. Entire screen, yes. Thank you, this one. I think I moved all the important stuff off. So we're going to talk about today, we're going to look at today as this Vulkan issue. Let's see. We have, there's that. Vulkan images in swap chain are partially hard-coded. So I'm going to assign myself right now. And so the issue is that they're hard-coded. I don't think that I can actually get I'm not sure if I'm going to have the problem because I wrote a lot of this initial code and I didn't have any problems with it. But I can at least solve the problem of them being hard-coded. And then we can see if that works. So hopefully we can go through this code now. And at the end of this process, hopefully we will end up with, a PR that we can actually submit and then have people check it out. And hopefully it fixes the problem. We can move on to the next thing on the next time. All right. So I have a bunch of monogame stuff here. I'm sure my monogame update or my monogame branch is out of date. Let's go in here and if you guys have any questions or anything, just drop them in the chat and I should be able to see it if I can see chat. There's chat. All right. We have chat now. Yeah, show you the beard. It's being shown. So yeah, so let's go into here. Let's see what we got. Status. I always use get up command line, just what I'm used to. Guess I was doing something with the builder before. Let's just stash this, and maybe I'll remember I have a stash. Go to develop. They pull the origin. Which branch is this? Okay, this is our company branch. Okay, so I'm going to update our branch. Okay, so now we have the latest from upstream develop. It's push, so my develop branch is up to date. And I'm going to check out a new branch. We call it, oh, nope, check out -B, not V, Vulkan swap. Okay, so now I have a branch I can work from. So next, let's see, I have something to test it with. I have a samples repo here. Let's open another Git window for that. I'm sure I have hacks. Oh, I already have a desktop VK one set up because I was probably working on this before. Who knows? This is out of date or whatever. It probably doesn't matter. It's the main repo, so if there's something in there, we've gotten it. All right, so we're good here. Let's see if I can get this. Which one was it? Platformer 2D desktop VK. Desktop VK. So I set up a solution. Let's open it in 2022. Let's see. A lot of times when I do this, I did that. I directly added the. Normally, these samples don't have that, but since I work from source all the time, I usually just add in the source repos that I need, so that they're just in place. So this should, if I open folder and file explorer, it should open. Yep, it opens the framework, so I know it's in the right place. So if I hit build, rebuild. Let's see if it builds for me. I got an error of some sort. Let's see what it is. No, something moved. Oh, I know what it is. There is now a submodule for that. Any other questions? Hello, everybody. Anybody joining? So there's a submodule for this now. I've done this before where I screwed this up and forgot to do this. take the update if I remember correctly. I know there's a way to do one command that does both, but I just don't remember how to do it. So do I have it now? It didn't do anything. Let's see if it'll work now. Yeah, it didn't seem to do anything. Why did it not do anything? Let's see. The submodule should be in here somewhere. Or no, we're putting an external, I think. STB. So it is there. What does it not like? Well, that's not. Should be doing this. No. Why is it not finding it? Let's see. It's this. I'm pretty sure it's this one's failing. Ugh. I need to get a new mouse. It's dying. Yep. You know, I haven't regenerated that project. I bet you it's pointing at the old thing. So let's go do that real quick. Normally this would hop in automatically, but since I'm working from source, I have to do it manually. So I think if I do that, it'll rebuild the Vulkan and the other. Yep. So it should reload this, and maybe now it'll have the right stuff. Ah, magic. It has the right stuff, it looks like. Oh, nope, something. It didn't find this one. Oh, there's probably a shader that didn't get built. Let's see. Vulkan. Where did we put those? I thought it would be, because I think the DirectX ones are in here. Put them somewhere else. Seems kind of weird. I can. Let's see. Let's try this. So, is there a way to generate the BCX project if you don't have it as it's not in the repo? Yes, and that's what I was just showing. Like, there's the we have this batch file in here, make Windows solution, that will set up the C++ project for this stuff. It does require pre-make exe to exist in the folder. No, I don't think it actually requires the Lua file, but it requires the exe. Usually I just download it off the website, throw it in here. That's one of the things that we don't have streamlined in our build process. It doesn't currently include that. There's a, people really don't like including binaries in the repo, even though I don't mind a small binary in the repo, because if it makes things easy, at some point maybe we'll solve this. For right now, you just have to copy it manually in there and run it. Or not run it, but run this batch file that actually generates the project. So back to this. Why is it that the source is not in here for the shaders? I could have sworn that it was in here before. Did someone move things? That happens a lot of time. We'll set something up and then someone will move things around on us. If it's in here, it might be under here, graphics, shader, no, graphics, effect resources. But those are the original ones. Great, so let me move this. Where did they move it to? I'm sure someone had good intention of like, I'll move this and it'll make it so much easier. And what we end up with is something lost. So let's do this. Let's use the repo to find out what the fuck happened. Let's see, we'll go to native in here, go to MonoGame, and let's see the changes that occurred in here. And that might tell us what the heck happened. Okay, look up shader compilation to build. That seems potentially the culprit. That file was deleted out of that. Okay, so basically it was moved into, well, maybe, let's see. I'm not seeing anything yet. And this happens to us a little bit too much, where we're in here trying to fix a Vulkan build, but I get stuck immediately with something else that has nothing to do with it. Let's see, build Windows task, build shaders task, build Vulkan task. Okay, so, all right, so somebody moved this into this task that has to run, which basically breaks it for people working from source code. So I need to figure out how to run this task now to make it work. And they would say, well, just run the automated build. It's like, I don't want to run the automated build for all the platforms. All I want to do is build these shaders so I can test this. So yeah, you see these were deleted. And in that process, we lost the ability to do what we did before. So I need to figure out how to do this properly. Maybe Harry will magically appear and tell me how to do this now that he changed it. Let's see. What's my guess here? My guess is that I have to go. I don't want to run the full freaking build. How do I do this and just build what I want? I don't know. Fuck it. Let's just try it. Let's see what kind of chaos this will create. I guess I can just run build. I don't think I can run that, right? Yeah, I can't run that. I need to run the other one. Nope, that's not what I want to do either. Well, at least I know what the run is. Maybe they're args, but who knows? Actually, before we do that, let's see what the main repo says as far as, maybe it'll tell us, maybe as part of fixing this, we wrote documentation on how to do this. Nope, don't want that. Totally not what I'm looking for. Source code, helpful links, of course, know how to build the source. Open the solution. Yeah, this looks totally out of date. Open the solution for your target platform and build the game framework. Yeah, that's not necessarily, I mean, maybe I can try that. Let's see, because I'm technically not doing that. I'm working around that. So if I can go in here, can you hop on the stream? I don't know, maybe not. I think it's worth me fighting through this and figuring it out so that everybody can see the pain points recorded on video so we can address them in the future. So let me work through it. So let me go. I'm going to guess that it might be in this solution potentially that might trigger the build process for the shaders. Let's see, somebody posted something. Let's see, at the bottom of that commit had a build shader commands. Let's go take a look at that real quick. Chat, let's see what it says. Okay, so there's a script build bug in PS1. Okay, yeah, this might be worth trying here. Let's see if we can get that to happen. There we go. Well, of course it doesn't run. Why would it run? Run the PowerShell. Let's see what it's doing. It's running some build script. A lot of stuff for what used to be just a batch file. And it did something and disappeared. Let's see if it actually did anything. I see no shaders. So my guess is that it failed and disappeared in the process. Let's see if I can open this and I can open it. Maybe, well, no, I don't want to open it with Notepad, stupid. Of course. Why did I lose my association with that? hopefully this time it won't close the window on me. I half believe it will. Okay, there we go. Errors. Let's see. Type of namespace name, pass info does not exist. Okay, so there's some broken code here. I don't think I have any changes. Maybe I have local changes. No, I don't. I'm not sure what that. I don't know what that one string interrupt thing is. Oh, it's old code. Let's see. Pass info does not exist in the namespace MonoGame parser. So there's strictly just, oh, it's a PS5 stuff. It's local. I've run into this before where, because I have a PS5 folder, it tries to build with it. Like how we set up our console stuff, which has worked out pretty good, is that if you just put a subfolder in here, it automatically picks it up and builds. Well, I have a build of the PS5 stuff in here, you know, but it is not set up to work in the main repo at the moment. So for that reason, it fails to build and it causes everything to fail, which is kind of annoying. Maybe one day we'll resolve that. But for now, I basically need to disable it picking up the PS5 and GDK stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to disable it. If I just change that and I change this, it will pull that stuff out of there. Simon, or team keeps telling me something, but I'm too busy. I'll deal with that later. So this should work because it'll not pick up those folders anymore, so it won't fail to build because of something in a platform I'm not working on at the moment. Which this happens sometimes, like, you know, we build for everything. So sometimes you get stuck when it can't build something for like Android or iOS, even though we're not targeting that. You know, it's the pains of dealing with a multi-platform engine. So, all right, so it looks like it built. So now we're back to building. That should probably, all that stuff about how to build those shaders and everything should probably be in, you know, in the README or in the docs with a link to where, you know, where it, you know, where you can learn how to build the source code. So, because that's a bit confusing. All right, so now we should have, not in pipeline, MonoGame. Man, my mouse is so, okay, so yeah, we have those in there. So now we can get back to this. And in theory, I don't need this at the moment. Let's go back to the other window. Now if I build, I'm finally back to building. Let's see how long that took. It was a 20-minute detour, and we still don't have a build code. Let's see what it's complaining about now. I can't run MGCB because, you know, that's the next problem, of course. Let's see if I can actually get it to, what is it running? It's trying to run the builder XC quiet. What's the failure? Oh, application error. The application dependencies manifest has already been found, but with a different file extension. Oh my God, it's been found with a different file extension. Oh no, it's the end of the world. So all this is stupid. I really hate how stupid all this shit is. The easiest solution here is, my first thought is to work around it and say, no, thank you, I don't care. Let's see. I think I might already have some content built. Again, this is not the, like, I hate having battles for things that are not currently what I'm working on. And right now I hate the idea of battling how to build content when all I'm trying to do is work on source code, which is the frustration with us changing things around. As much as it's good, it also is a distraction. So let's see, I think I might already have content. Well, no, there's no content build for this thing. So I have no choice but to build the content. Well, maybe not, hang on. Is the content end up? No, it ends up in here. So yeah, I need to fix it to build the content. So I have to solve this problem. Usually what I do for this is I yeet this thing out of here because it sucks. And I replace it with just a call to the executable to build the content. I have that, but I don't know if I have one local that does that. I might. No, I have something that builds with the current stuff, so maybe I can't do that. Let's try a couple simple things. Let's try first just the restored NuGet packages. Let's see if it magically solves my problem. Sometimes doing that, closing and reopening Visual Studio will magically fix things. So let's see if we get lucky. Nope, that would be too easy. Failed to restore NuGet packages. Oh my God. Yeah, I hate all this. This is all dumb. This is what we're going to do. This is a good command line. It's just being stupid. So I can copy this command line. I'll start with copying this command line. Coming in, I can kind of do this in any window, but just for safety, I'll do it from here. I'm going to paste this command line. I'm going to watch it build the content because the command line is perfectly fine. This is just Visual Studio screwing me over. So it built the content just fine. Nope. What did it do? Where did it put it? Where did it put it? That's a source file. Where was it putting it as the output? Or was it outputting it to core? I guess it does that it copies it, possibly. Oh no, it puts it into this. I see. So it built it and put it here. So now, after I did that, I'm going to strategically fix this to not do any content building because it's done that way. And I'm just going to hack it locally because I don't really care right now to do anything properly. I just want it to work. Go by. And this thing is a complete piece of garbage. That can go. You know, NuGet could have been a great thing, but Microsoft really screwed it up. That's a NuGet error. And it doesn't understand. Oh no. I guess core isn't in here. I don't know why. Existing project. Sample core. I really don't like this split out with core and something else. It's kind of not the greatest split, I don't think. Let's try again here. Hey, look, it succeeded finally. All right, we are 26 minutes in, and I finally got to where I wanted to be in the first 5 minutes. All right, the joys of code. Let's see if it'll run. I'm going to hit F5. Hey, got a breakpoint. Hit F5 again. Hey, failed to create a window. What is it failing at? Can't find the MonoGame native DLL. Couldn't find the entry point, but is it the entry point or is it the actually missing the DLL? Sometimes it's missing the DLL. Let's see. It should all be, I think the final build ends up going here. Looks like the DLL is there, but it can't find the entry point. That tells me that maybe the signature is different. Let's see. That's the signature. Rough with height, unmanaged, type. I really hate these unmanaged things. I don't trust these things. I hate that we moved back to this. I don't know what that does under the hood. Luckily, I don't think we have a lot of interop that uses strings. So if it does introduce a performance overhead, hopefully it's minor. And as long as we don't have any functions that be called hundreds of times a second that pass strings, then it might be okay. I really hate those Marshall lines. I just do not trust that they do things efficiently or fast. Maybe that's some PTSD from the old marshalling system. All right, so that is implemented in the header for this. So it's going to be in, which one is it? It's going to be in MGP. And I see one warning here. Let's see, which one was it again? Window create. Window create with height title. And that API looks correct. Or am I missing something? Window with height title looks correct. Why can't it find it? Can I dial up the volume a bit? Got my amp dialed to explosion. When notification comes in, I'll be able to hear you. That's interesting. I'm not sure what I do to increase my volume. I guess maybe on my stream. Hang on a second. Let's see. I dialed up my volume. Maybe that helps. Hopefully people's ears aren't bleeding. All right. So to figure this out, we'll find an entry point. Interesting. Why wouldn't it have that? I wonder if it's just, I wonder if that DLL is out of date. That looks really out of date. I doubt that that's correct. So let's make sure what our dependencies are here. Since I'm modifying this, this should have it. Yeah, there's no dependency on that thing, it looks like. So it ends up not building. That's where our problem lies. I'll just do that. Don't need to set it up properly, just need it to build. So let's build again. Oh, of course it doesn't. We just rebuild. And after that rebuilds, we should see this date change here. If it did it. It did not. It built, but it did not copy it to there, which is an annoying pain in the ass. Let's see. This should have done it. Why did it not? I like the fact that I can edit this thing now without having to unload the project. Oh, it's copying. That's interesting. The VK one is copying the DX one. That's why it's failing. Annoying. Let's go back to here. Let's see, where is it? It's artifacts, native, Windows, desktop. Okay. Just want to make sure I had the right thing. And yeah, it looks like it just updated, so that's the right thing. That'll fix that. I hate when it does that. I don't think it actually changed anything. Didn't copy it, right? No, it did. Okay, it just did it. It's interesting. I hate when it does this and it's like, oh, everything's up to date. I did nothing, but it actually did do something. It did actually, whatever the heck this stupid thing is. They're always adding nonsense into this stuff. Let's see. All right, so that's looks like it might work this time. Let's see. Hey, we got to that code. Ha, now what? Content file was not found, so it failed to find a content file. Again, I'm still in the process of getting this sample to run so I can work on my code. The joys of open source development. All right, so why is it? I really hate when it does this. It doesn't want to tell me what the heck. Okay, yeah, fonts HUD. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the problem is that there is no content in here. So I'm just going to do the easy, lazy thing. I'm going to open a administrator command prompt. I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to cross-link this from this stupid thing. This is probably not the best way to do that, but I do not care at the moment. I just want it to work. I'm pretty sure that's wrong, but I'll do this. Then I'm going to use, oh, no, go away. I'm going to use mklink, which will make a symbolic link. And I do symbolic link directory. I always forget what I need to do. Link is the name. And I'm going to make that the target. Now it'll create a symbolic link in my folder here, which will work for my purposes for today. And so now I have a symbolic link there. It goes back to content. And now when I run it, it should be able to find the content. Hopefully. No, more failures. File not found. What did it not find? For whatever reason, it does not want to tell me that way. Sounds gem collected. Oh, there are no sounds in here for some reason. Why are sounds not in here? What is it about content building that it did not build sounds? Did it fail? It sounds to me like it failed to build sound content. Yep. There's no supported audio profile for the desktop VK platform. I guess that's technically true. So that sort of makes sense. So what I'm going to do instead for this is I'm going to just disable them for right now while I'm testing this. I think I did this once before. I'll just need to look for all these. And I'm just going to temporarily hack them out of here. And I'll just have to deal with the side effect of this. Again, we're trying to test. I probably could have tested with a sample that didn't have sound, but this will work too. And then I'll deal with the crashes as I get there. Usually with these things, if you do this, that's enough to solve your problem. I'll just preemptively, I'm going to just do this lazily and quickly, and hopefully that's enough, and I don't have to mess with it too much further. I'm assuming everything that plays these sounds happens from here. Okay, that might do it. Let's see. Okay, looks like I got further. Yay, we have a running game. Finally. And we are 35 minutes in. I'm definitely going to make sure the rest of the team watches this stream and we resolve all these pain points so that we don't have this problem moving forward. Okay. So finally, we're running a build with Vulkan, that has this, it looks like it's running properly, but we know there's compatibility issues and we have issues with the multiple, with having a fixed amount of back buffers instead of a dynamic amount. So, okay, sort of a working state. So now let's, I guess, break things. So the original issue, going back to it, the original issue here is that it's hard-coded to a certain concurrent frame count, and we need to stop doing that. So, concurrent frame count. The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to kill this so that, and this, and let's let the compiler tell me what's broken once I do that. And then that, letting the compiler do the work, it tells me these are the places where that, is breaking things. So instead of doing this, I'm going to make a member variable that defines it. We'll start there. So I think, my guess is that the number is probably going to be per graphics device, is my guess. Not that a lot of systems have multiple graphics devices anymore. It used to be a thing back in the day. But my guess is that we would want to store the number of back buffers on the device itself. So I'm going to make it a property of this thing instead of on the system. That means everybody will have to get it from here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave it to 0 by default so that it's very clear that it's not initialized with anything useful. And then I'm going to go back to this first error. And just as a hack here, I'm going to do this right now. I'm not going to spend time figuring out how to detect what the right amount is. I'm just going to assume 2 for right now, but I'm going to fix the code to use this. And in theory, I could do a find in files and replace them all, but I like kind of looking at the code and seeing what's actually happening and not just setting it all. We have some time here, so we should do it in a way that, is controlled. So clean up swap chain images. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. We need to make sure that if we have like a change in the number of swap chains, that we don't change the number before doing cleanup, so that it cleans up the right amounts. Change that guy. Change this guy. That looks all makes sense. I'm just going to start. We're going to stick with this for now. Create swap chain. Okay, so that makes sense. Yes. We'll skip the free frames for right now. We'll deal with that after we get through this. So that makes sense. It looks like, it has a good feeling when you're doing this and you pick the right thing if you don't have any problems. Like device is available everywhere that I'm doing this. Device is available. So it sort of makes sense that I put it in the right place. Again, device available. I'm pretty happy with calling it swap chain count, I think. Naming is sometimes difficult, and finding the right name for things. Current frame count, swap chain count, so that seems better because it's more technical, I guess, is what it is. It's the number of swap chains we're going to have, or a number of frames in the swap chain, I guess. So maybe the name is the greatest, but we'll see. Current frame count. Yeah, makes sense. Graphics by straw. Yeah. I mean, this might be, I wonder if I could at some point make this into something reusable so that it's not copied so many times in here. When I keep seeing the same code copied a lot of times, it worries me because it's very easy to introduce a bug and end up with a slight difference somewhere. But not an issue for today. I'm going to focus on the task at hand, especially since we lost 30 minutes to dumb build stuff. Current frame count. See any questions? Let's see. Should we have a simple sample in the repo that is all set up? I mean, in the repo, probably not. I think we want to keep the samples separate. I mean, the unit tests really are the simple sample, and I could have gone to the unit test and used that as a test bed, but I figured that an actual sample might be better to really show, progress and to know if I broke something. And yeah, so yeah, I don't think we really want a sample in the repo. I don't think. Let's see. All right. All right, back to this. So I think I fixed all those. Let's see. I'll build again and let's see what it tells me. Again, using the compiler to help me. So it looks like I didn't miss any of those. I hate how many warnings we have. We should probably, I know that Harry's right now making a pass through the C# side of things, I believe, to kind of get rid of a lot of our warnings in the build, because we've kind of accumulated a lot, mostly because Microsoft added a bunch of stuff that generates warnings. But we definitely need to start working on reducing that. So don't need that right now. Sorry, this is work hours, so I also get work email or work Discord messages. So free frames. So free frames was the way that we were hacking things to do our release of to release resources. Instead of doing any kind of barriers or resource tracking to say, well, when is this resource really unused? We're like, well, if a certain amount of frames has been completed, if a certain amount of frames have occurred between the time this resource was last used and now, then that resource should not be in use anymore in any of the frames, and it's okay to free them. So we're going to keep with that, with that concept. We're just going to add it to the device like we have other things. So if I go back to device here, I'm just going to, and I'll keep the name because I don't have a better name for it. Yeah, let's keep the name for it, but let's go back to where this is defined real quick. I'm a little concerned that the type of this is pretty important. So I don't want to just assign it anything. I guess I was using frame counter for this so that I had a consistency here. Maybe I should continue to do that. Yeah, let's do that. That'll be consistent at least. I don't love it, but we'll do the same thing. We'll set it to 0 and we'll calculate it once we calculate this, because it was set to 3 originally. So it was trying to say like, hey, one more frame than the concurrent frame count, right? So if we go to where that's set now, where is it? So we're going to do device 3 frames equals swap chain count plus 1. So that eventually when we calculate the swap chain count, then this will automatically adjust. So now we're going to go all these free frames and we're going to fix this. And we'll see if that actually helps. I don't know if this is the greatest technique, but it works. It's simple. It's sort of easy to understand. So I'm happy with continuing down this path. It's probably not as efficient if we actually kept track of when the resource was used. We could potentially say, well, we don't have to wait 3 frames. We can maybe wait until the first frame is complete. And once we know that the frame is complete, we could say, well, this was used on this frame. This frame we know absolutely has been done because of a barrier. We can go ahead and now free this early. But, hanging on to it for, 1.5 frames to 3 frames, it's not a major deal unless you're extremely tight on resources. So let's see, we'll build this again. This should build this time, I think. Lots of warnings, but it builds. Let's run it and see. Yes, it's running. So let's do an experiment here. I wonder if I can do this. Let's see. What I want to do is maybe show the frame count, the swap chain on the screen so we know what frames we're seeing maybe. Yeah, that's probably going to be moving so fast that we can't really tell. We might not even need to do that. Let's just try the simple thing. I mean, we should notice a difference when we change this stuff. So I'm just going to move this thing to 3. Let's see that everything, in theory, it should all run and build and work fine. We'll put a breakpoint there because I don't always trust that it copies things. I want to make sure that this is set to 3 once it runs. It's set to 3. Let's see if it fails. No, it started. In theory, there should be a little bit more latency potentially here because of that. I wonder if that, I'm not sure if that will extend. But now we should have 3 frame buffers now instead of just 2 with this code change. So yeah, so we should have 3 frame buffers now. We should have a little bit more latency. I'm trying to think of the right way to test it to verify it's working, but let's go crazy. Let's go to 6. Again, I don't trust it. I'm going to set a breakpoint there and see. 6, it did it. Oh yeah, you can see, you can tell, right? Like it's very laggy. I guess it's mostly performance that's hurting us there, maybe. But you can definitely tell it did something. I don't know if this is the right behavior, but it did something. So it is changing with that count. So that's good. So we have that. So now the question is how do we know how many frame buffers to use? And I think that question, the answer to that might be in here. So now it's doing this. Let's read this a little bit. Number of images depend on the driver and can can vary depending on the present mode, so we'll have to look at that. Okay, so uniform buffers, right? And I think that is dynamic now, and then lazily initialize upon first rendering a frame bound to an image in the chain. So it's tied to an image in the chain. See, I don't think we're doing that right. Yeah. Surface capabilities, min image count is greater than current frame count. We intend that. Oh, what is this? Why don't I have this code? Is this old code? Just not sure what this is. Why is this different? And that worries me. Let's see. No, okay, so I guess that's I'm not sure what that is. What is this version of the code? Maybe it's somebody's branch or something. I don't know where this came from, but so there was code there, but we'll handle this. So let's go back to where this was set up. There we go. And we're going to, I'm just going to test this and see what happens. And where's surface capabilities? Do we even have it in here? Do. Is that, where are we relative to the other thing? This is part of, it's in recreate swap chain. And this is graphics device create. Okay, so we need recreate swap chain to account for this. I'm not sure why. Do we have code in here twice for setting up the swap chain? That seems kind of okay. I guess no. What it's doing is this is only just in the creation of the command buffer and stuff for this. It still has the swap chain creation that's separate. So this initializes it here once, but it's tied together. So okay, I see some of the bigger complexity here. Bye, Matsumi. Heading off for dinner. Good luck and thanks for the stream. You're welcome. We're going to do more of these. Okay, so now I have a better idea what the next level of problem here is. So how this is set up, we create some initial resources for the frames, but then we create the swap chain later. And I think we might need to know, these are kind of tied together. And really, like, these are really like, so the command buffer, we allocate a command buffer per frame so that, they can't block each other. I think like some graphics APIs and probably Vulkan as well, you could probably use the same command buffer across multiple frames, but it just means that the next frame has to wait for the other one to be done before it continues, or you have to do some wacky resource stuff. So this is fine. It creates one per frame, and it does this other stuff, but all this is per swap chain stuff. And my first thinking is that maybe per swap chain stuff should not be initialized in this here. Like this stuff might really need to be initialized in the when we create the swap chain. So let's try an experiment here. Let's get rid of this right now. We're going to disable this here. I'm going to leave the code there for now because I don't want to. And I'm going to move this into the swap at the beginning of the swap chain creation, or recreate, clean up swap chain. We'll leave this alone. Leave that alone. And somewhere down here, recreate swap chain. So wait for idle, window, clean up swap chain. Okay. So I think what we'll do, and I don't know, I'm a little concerned that there might be other side effects here, because he was mentioning, that resources are tied to, uniforms are tied to that. Yeah, it's like the frame state. I mean, that could be okay, maybe. Let's just do the simple thing, and then we'll see how it works. You can spend time here doing something complicated and over-engineering something, or you could just do it and see how it turns out. And sometimes it's quicker and simpler than overthinking things. So what we want to do is, for this we need to destroy, recreate the semaphore fence, command buffer, and uniform buffer each time the swap chain is recreated, which is probably okay. It's probably not the greatest actually, but it's maybe okay. Because technically, I think the swap chain is recreated every time you resize the window, so it's not ideal to recreate all those resources in those cases. And we could probably avoid doing some of that stuff. Actually, what we need to do is we don't need to we should only recreate it if it changes, right? So if it's if we haven't created the frame resources, recreate it. If we have created frame resources, but the number of swap chain images the number of swap chains have not changed, so it's the same amount of frames, it doesn't recreate it. So that basically it doesn't have to recreate all the resources unless it really has to. So in one case, it just resizes the images. In another case, it changes everything. And I don't know if there are any cases where in resizing the window or moving the window around your desktop that it'll recreate the number of swap chains that you need in the scene. So I think that works out okay. So let's leave this cleanup swap chain here. Gets the capabilities. We're going to need the capabilities. We're going to trust that this is actually doing what it says it's going to do. Okay, so I think that, and this is experimental. We'll see how this turns out. It might crash immediately because it needs some resource before this happens, but we'll see. So if everything's the same, do nothing, that's fine. Cleanup swap chain will have to occur. But before that, let's just try the first path. So at this point, we should know the device capabilities and everything that we need. So at this point, we can do some basic things like we can look and see what, if what is it? Max min image count. min image count, I believe is what he was talking about. Min image count is less than, or is it less than? No, if it's greater than, actually, it's probably if it does not equal, because we probably always want to do it to what the thing wants, I think. I don't know. Let's go with that and we'll see. Does not equal swap chain count. Then we're going to recreate the swap chain completely, or recreate the entire, all the frame data, which at the first, this will be 0, so it's going to recreate it every time. I like to add some little commentary when I'm doing that. So we do, then we're going to do this. We'll see if there's, I wonder if sometimes min image count is 1, and we definitely don't want to ever do that. So I'll have to check that in a minute when we test. I'll set a breakpoint there to remind me to take a look at that. And then we're going to do this, and then it's going to, we'll do some of our cleanup here. If frames not equal null, because I write so much C# at times, my C# isms, like checking explicit things, leaks into here. And even though it's shorter to just do the frames, I still like that. It makes it clear what our intent is. Then we want to delete it. So, and that's an array delete. But we also need to do cleanup. So, got to do this as well. There's potentially a lot of cleanup here, but we'll see. I don't know if we ever set up the shutdown code to actually shut that down. Let's see. Graphics device destroy. That code might be in here for how to clean up the things. Yeah, so here's a cleanup of the swap chain. So we want to basically do this. I don't know if that's complete. It might be leaking something, but at least gives us we probably need to do this as well. Yeah. And we may or may not be able to do this. And this code I might not be able to test unless I might have to hack it and see if I can test it that way. So we're going to copy this because we're going to do basically a part of this. You don't want that. And, I don't know why that was a separate thing, but we're going to assume that this is okay for right now. Again, easier to test to see if things fail and then if they do, fix them. So that deletes that, and just out of completeness, I will, it's probably fine. I would probably need to clear that. So that cleans that up, and now it's going to be recreating. I'm assuming this is initialized to null. Yeah, it is. So good. So it should be null in most cases. So this might actually do it, but we'll see. What's this? Something it uses, it creates a startup. Oh, that's part of all this, huh? Yep. Just recreating all this stuff, and then it should continue from there. I don't know what other side effects we're going to have because we're freeing some resources and stuff like that, and who knows what. I suspect that this is not going to go as expected, but we'll see. It might just have some crazy resource problems, but we'll find out. So in theory, this is doing what we expected to do. So let's just run it and find out. That's the easiest way to know instead of looking at it. Let's see. So image count 2, swap chain 0. So it's going to jump in here. Okay, so image count 2. I don't know if there's any case that we would get a 1 here. But we should probably protect against that. So device frames. So I'll set a breakpoint in here. So if we ever happen to get in there, we test that. Create the frame array. All this stuff is the same code, so it should just work. And it should be fine. So that should just work. So now here's the first test. I'm going to set a breakpoint in here because, and this should be when I resize this sucker. Oh, damn it. It's not set to resize. Let me minimize my tree rate. Nope. There's no maximize. I need to go fix that real quick. Let's go fix it real quick. Let's go to it's not a programmer, it's a platform game, and we're just going to set it to be resizable, which is nope. I think I just used some AI. Gross. All right, hit F5. It's running. How many viewers do we have at the moment? I can't even tell. I don't see how that's going. It's interesting that it doesn't show me how many people are actually viewers. Comments appear on screen. I don't know if that's helpful or not. Probably not very helpful, huh? I guess there's 12, I guess what it's saying. Yep. 12, so just 12 of you guys. Hopefully that'll get bigger as we do this more often. Okay, so it creates everything here. We're good. Creates that. So now this is resizable. Resize, and when I let go, it should hit this again. The min image count is the same, so it doesn't recreate that. It just recreates the swap chain. So that's how we do this without it, recreating resources every single time. That said, I want to test and see what happens if I do that. So I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to force it into this path. And I really don't even have to change the swap chain count. I can leave it alone, but it's going to basically do what I had here. So it's going to get the command buffer and destroy it, and these resources, and destroy resources there, and delete the frame array. That's going to recreate things, and then we'll find out whether this completely blows up and crashes or not. That'll be the next question. It did not. So that's good to know. I don't know if that means it's right, but it didn't blow up. The game seems to be still running and rendering. So I'm going to call that a victory and not look any further into that. I'm going to assume that's working properly until I'm proven different. That might be proven different. Yep, something broke. So that's interesting. Let's see if I can figure out what's happening here. Is it stuck or is it interesting? I wonder what's happening there. Let's try that again. Let's make sure that my normal code didn't cause this, and it's just the resize caused that. Interesting that it was working fine, then it failed when it recreated. But I think the reason that is potentially is that I think how the sample is set up, when you go here, it unloads all the resources and reloads. And I think like the resources that were already in the system were working fine, but the second that it tried to load the resource again, that's when it failed, is my guess. So let's see. Not that I really don't know if this is going to recreate that stuff in the middle of a frame. I don't know, maybe that's why Tomas was mentioning that there was a problem there, but we'll see. Let's find out. I mean, this is definitely a step towards where we want to be. I don't know if it is the final answer of what we want to be doing anyways, but let's see. Let's do this first. Is this an integer? I hate, let's see, can I use standard bin? Yeah. Max, actually. I'm going to use whatever's maximum of these two. Okay. I think that's what you do. Yep, that makes it unsigned. So that we'd never get less than 2, because there's no purpose of having 1 unless you're doing some weird stuff. And then everything else will work off of that. Yes. Okay. So that's a little bit better. It's a question. I'll put a question in there. Oh, that's it. That's a bug. That should not be there. It should free first so that it frees the right amount and then creates the changes. I mean, if we wanted to be really aggressive about it, we could just, not free and just add a swap chain in those cases, or do something like that. But the truth is, like, I don't know under what conditions the swap chain count can change on resize. It could just be a weird thing. It could be like it's a Vulkan device, or it's a Android device or something in the future that does something wacky like that. So who knows? But we'll see. Let's see what time is it. All right, so I'm assuming this is going to work too, but let's go test that failure case and see what happened there. So this is fine and things were working. And we went and let's just test resizing without anything else. Just to be, so that worked fine. I died. Okay, so that worked fine. Resizing didn't break anything on changing scenes. I have to go look at how the scene change code works here to kind of get a better idea of what's happening. So, is this my code hard to read? I could have probably scaled up the size of stuff a little bit, make it a little easier on everybody. My eyes are getting old, so I was already at a higher than 100%, anyways. So, but I'll make it a little bit bigger to make it easier on people. Should have thought of that before. Right, so I'm going to force this thing here by doing this. It's just going to let it recreate with the existing size. It's still going to be 2 and run. And that part works. The game is working. It's rendering. Nothing broke here. But I think it's because of how the resources, I think it's because of how we manage our resources. It's probably the Vulkan pipelines is probably where the problem lies, is my guess, is that we need to recreate the pipelines potentially in this case. That's my guess. But let's see what happens. So I do this, and then it's going to freeze in a weird way. No, it worked that time. That's interesting. I wonder why that was the case. I wonder why it failed that one time. That's weird. Did I do something different? Yeah, 120%. Yeah, 120% is my default now. It's been for a couple of years. My name's Tom. My Visual Studio font size default is 120%. Okay, so it worked that. Why did it fail one time for me? Is it a timing thing? That's a little disturbing. Everything seemed fine there. Okay, let's try again. I'm going going to force it into here. And, you know, after I verify this, that I'm going to test something. It could have been because of, no, because it recreated the same size before. Aha, something freaked out. I don't know what. We'll find out. Oh, you know what? I wonder if it was still in the middle of it was still in the middle of present, or the frame was still being rendered when we were cleaning resources up. That could be possible, maybe. Where's my output window? I hate it when Visual Studio. Taskbar. I can kill you now. My taskbar hits something. Sometimes it'll give you some maybe useful error messages here. That's probably not it. Just a lot of bullshit that has nothing to do with what I care about. Structures. External component is thrown an exception. Great. That really doesn't help me. I probably don't have like the I wish I could get rid of you, Copilot. Microsoft really wants to shove Copilot down our throats. I'm not interested in using Copilot. And every time I look at this, all I see is a frog staring at me. I don't know why. That's what I think it looks like. So I'm annoyed by the Copilot frog. Is it maybe going to give me something useful, or is this more garbage here? Stack trace is going to tell me what the stack trace is. There's no real useful information in here, unfortunately. I wonder if I have, well, I have some ideas. So let's test out my ideas. I'll hide that now. Oh, I can snooze the frog. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Microsoft, for snoozing it. I'd rather have it just removed from my copy of Visual Studio, never to be seen again, but I'm pretty sure they'd rather me snooze it. No thanks. So, yeah, I think maybe it's a timing thing, that maybe how I'm doing things at the moment. That text is a little too big for me. I mean, we're doing this, so it's waiting for the device to be done drawing. So it shouldn't be that. I don't think. I mean, this even does another white idle on the queue. I'm not sure why this comment is empty. Maybe we were expecting to do that and we're not. Maybe that's part of the problem. I'm not sure. Okay, so maybe it's not that, but it could be. So clearing those here. Those need to be. It's probably a state not clearing here. Well, first of all, let me go and get rid of this, because I think we've proven that this is the right path. So this can go away. Let's stress test this a little bit here. I'm going to make it so that it always recreates this thing for shits and giggles. Just so that it just constantly does it and lets us see how badly it breaks. My guess is it's going to break badly. see, now it did that again. So yeah, there's definitely something with doing that that's causing a problem. What? I don't know. It's interesting. It's still resizing it, but it's kind of the gameplay is broken. And I suspect it has something to do with how Platformer 2D recreates its scenes. Like I think we'll look in here real quick. So I think what it ends up doing, go next level. So yeah, it disposes the devil level, then opens the file, opens the stream, then loads the level. Previous one is disposed, but it's loading content that already existed. Yeah, it's probably related to how the caching of pipeline state. That said, I don't know how bad of a problem this is. I don't know if this min image count can change in the middle of a frame. With some of this stuff, this is where I feel like AI is useful for us. Like Google is almost impossible nowadays with it's almost impossible with Google to find things because Google wants to serve you ads all the time. But I find that AIs help cut through the crap from the advertisers and get you more direct access of information, even though I don't fully trust it. But let's see what it tells us. Let's ask it a dumb question like that. We'll let it think about it for a little while. Oh, it came back with this time. So it does have some information. We'll see what it says. That's kind of a generic answer, I think. Okay, that's possibly a valid thing. The display mode changes, which can happen if you have like a tablet or something that changes formation, like if it's a foldable that flips open or anything like that. So the reasons that it could occur is because the display changed. Heck, you couldn't even unplug your monitor while Windows is running or Linux is running and plug your graphics device into another monitor, and in theory that could change that at any point. So for sure, regenerating that changing is something that has to actually happen. So yeah, so that's the reason. And this is why I use ChatGPT for this stuff. It's like it's easier to cut through this bullshit and at least make you think about stuff. Even though I don't 100% trust it, that all that sounds very plausible and gives me a good reason as to why that would work. So goodbye. So that is the bigger issue. And I think Tomas might have mentioned something about this. Okay, so this is the issue, the one that introduced that, but introduced a bad fix. So create swap chain can ignore it. That's interesting. Okay, okay, interesting. So we should be using that and not the other. Okay, good to know. But I think that is way down here. What does that require? Device and a swap chain. So you first create the swap chain, then you get the swap chain count. Okay. So we might need to move this way further down. But that's okay. I think that we can do that. I don't think there's anything here that requires any of that. So this is more of a suggestion, not a not a requirement. So let's treat it as such for now. So yeah, let's move this around here a little bit. We will, I wish I could tell Discord to stop putting those on this thing so that we stop getting bothered by it, but unfortunately Discord wants to do that. I mean, I'm kind of doing something different. Like I probably should address why recreating this does not work, but this is, I need to restructure this anyways, and I want to continue to mull this other change in my head a little bit more. So we will stick with this for right now. Suggested min swap chain count. I can probably move that down at some point. But that means that this will happen down here. Wait, no, wrong place. Yeah. I'll probably do it here. There it is. Feels very late in the process, but you know. And then we're going to use the actual swap chain count here. And then we're going to use that. And that will recreate all this the right way. And we will come up here. And we don't need to use this anymore here. We're going to use this. I'm going to move this down here and directly set this. So I can actually add a comment above it of like why we're doing it this way. Where's this used? It's used down in, it's way down here. I hate it when we set something up only to use it way down below. Sometimes this happens, the code, things get disconnected. Somebody shoves something between something else. So let's move this back down here. And I don't love moving code around because it breaks everybody's PRs, but you know, when things are not very logical, you know, it's probably better to do that. So now we have a nice explanation of why this is done this way. Getting a call in, but I have to wait on that. We'll move this up here too, since it's kind of together with it. I don't know why it's commented out, but we'll move it up here. It's a little bit of code cleanup while I'm doing this. For each swap chain, then we get the actual count. So that's a little bit better, I think. Let's see if it works. That's the best way to deal with it, huh? It either works or it doesn't. So it gets here, so I can count 2. So yeah, that refactor seems to be working. So at least we're there. Our next problem is when it does change the swap chain count. Now I wonder if I could trigger it by like setting one of my monitors to an oddball refresh rate and making that happen, maybe. But I don't want to break my stream in the process, so I'm probably not going to do that. But I do want to experiment with the resize test and seeing if that, if I force it to recreate on resize, if I can get that case to break. But we're in a good spot here. I think I only have 30 more minutes for this stream, so we'll see how far we can get. Okay, so I'm going to force this to change my. I'm going to force this to recreate every time, so that it artificially causes this problem. I'm going to resize. It's going to do it again. It's still running. I'm working normally. Then it's going to come here, and I think it'll fail now. Yeah, so now it fails. Now it's consistent, at least. It's failing consistently. So my guess is that it's image of parts, all right, complete fence. It's either part of destroy frame resources. I mean, I go back to this. My thinking is it's either this, either this is wrong or the uniforms here are wrong, and that's what's causing it, is my guess. Let's go see how uniforms is set here. That's what I need to dig into. Wrong place. I mean, this is all done in a very primitive way, so it wouldn't surprise me if this is a problem. So here it's begin frame. If it's null, it creates a new one, and that's it. The thing is here is that, you know what, I don't know if it's actually recreating that. I don't know if it's freeing it. Let's see if somebody frees it. Maybe our cleanup code is. I mean, it's been a while since I looked at this code, so I don't remember everything of how I had this set up. Like, it really took me a while to get in the right frame of mind to handle Vulkan when I first got in there, and I kind of grokked it at the time that I was working on it, but it's been a little while. So let's see. I'm going to have to do a more precise search here because this ain't working for me. I think it's pretty much always accessed this way. Maybe. What is this used for? Hey, it did the right thing at least. I find a lot of times this thing does the wrong thing here. Okay, so this is where it's used. The descriptors, it gets the buffers, and buffer. Yeah, it's been a while since I looked this. I don't really remember how this works. I mean, I bet that if I transform those uniforms from one swap chain to the other and create a new one, that it would work. I don't think the uniforms necessarily have to be lost or thrown out. If it adds more, that'd be simple. If we get rid of some, it probably could be okay as well. It does seem like it's currently not freeing it in any place. So that's just a leak to begin with. And I bet if I start freeing them, I would see the error more quickly, like immediately if I freed them. So that probably wouldn't be a bad thing to do, is to actually free it so that it has to fail. This guy is hard coded to 4 megabytes. That's interesting. Not very great. It's like we could need more, we could need less. Who knows? I mean, it's hard coded 4 megabytes, but I'm pretty sure it's probably doing a discard or something in order to get more room. But we need to clean this up to make sure that this works. So let's start there. Where's our size code? Come on, mouse. Now, does this do that? That's not what I wanted. Let's see. I need to see if this maybe does free that. I don't think it does, though. Yeah, it just stores, state that's free, that it can free, hasn't been used in a while. It does not actually do anything else. So I'm going to do this. Listen, I'm going to try it. I'm just going to do it, see how it happens. Reuse our own API. I'm pretty sure that's not going to do what we want it to do, but this, I bet that this is going to, yeah, this probably won't do what we want it to do. We'll see what happens. Let's see what happens. Is that the only thing? I think so. And this sets the frame back up. Or wait, this just creates that. This is the thing that actually sets up, let's see, creates a texture frame buffer. This actually sets the swap chain texture. It deletes the old swap chain images, I guess. Yeah. What is this doing? It's just deleting the array that holds on to the images. It's not deleting the images themselves. All right. So I bet that this is going to do some gnarly stuff. I think that'll cause it to blow up right as I'm saying we need background music. Interesting. Maybe, maybe. generic background music might be nice. I don't know. What does everybody else think? Generic background musics. And there's some that I've heard on other people's streams. So it's gonna remove this. It's gonna push it into the destroy buffers. So it doesn't actually destroy it then, but at least it puts it in the list to be destroyed. My guess is this is going to didn't freak out, which is interesting. Sort of surprised. There's some freak out. This is where the freak out starts. One frame is correct, the next frame isn't. Probably because this got rid of one of the resources potentially. Continue the map better. Can't imagine that anything is correct here. I mean, it did something. It's kind of interesting, I guess. But I do not trust this code at all to be correct. It's funny how this scales in the wrong size, but whatever. Interesting how freeing the resource did better than. It's weird that not freeing the resource caused it to crash. I'm not sure why that would be the case. Or not crash, lock up. But freeing it would cause it to do something weird for a little while, then fix itself. Which is strange. That time it was fine. And then there's the flicker. I mean, I'm assuming that when it does this, it's not like in the middle of a frame. Oh, reset. Oh, that's what I needed to do. Free frames 3, swap chain count 2, switching with. Frame is this. I don't know which frame is active. Oh, there's a frame that's currently recording. That's not good. It means that it started. I guess it recreates the swap chain at the end during present. I guess probably it's just that this flag hasn't been set somewhere. There's a flag that says, are we currently recording? Why does it flip that? I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that's wrong. That's dumb. It never sets it to false. So, well, that'll do it. Way to detect bad state. So it's a true in the begin frame, begin frame. At the end of present, it should be clearing it after it does the submission. I'm not sure exactly where it should be doing it here. I mean, in render pass, submit. In queue submit is about as close as it's going to get. Present is really not. At that point, it's done with the submission. The buffer is done. In command buffer, it's no longer recording. So in theory, it could go here, I guess. not that this fixes anything, but that's a bug that it wasn't actually doing that. The character death animation is still incorrect. I think the frame width is set wrong somewhere. Yep, very possible. But I think it's always been like that. I don't think it's something that is introduced by this, but good to. I mean, it's funny that a sample that's, I don't know, 15, 20 years old still has bugs in it. Interesting. All right, so frames, knife, pointer. All right, so create, but it's destroy this, just putting it into the list. Everything's off now, but why would, okay, let's do this. Let's stop it. Run with this. That is just bad state between two frames. One frame, see, one frame, it can't render it. The next frame, it can. And usually when that occurs, it's because in one frame, it's either uniform buffers or it's other render state that isn't applied. I mean, we are in the middle of a present and we're recreating everything, and it might be, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think through it, but I'm not sure why that would be the case in this. It's not the command buffer itself. It's not that. It's got to be to do with the uniforms and uniform offset. I mean, if I remember correctly, this is used specifically for to hold descriptor data, I believe. Yeah. This is constantly being updated, so I'm not sure why that would be the case. I mean, this is where I should probably be using a debugger or a graphics debugger to try to capture what's happening in that frame and seeing if I can figure out what's missing, and that would tell me what this is. Okay, got another 10 minutes here before I have to cut out. Unfortunately, I have an appointment at 1, but I'm going to, let's do a couple things. So because we've made some progress on this, let's set up the PR as a preview. And, I will see if I can continue this in the next couple days. We want to do more streaming. I'm going to try to make sure that we stream more. For sure, I'll do another one of these things next Friday, but I want to try to do something sooner than that. So we'll just have to see if I can do it sooner than that. My life has become very busy recently. So let's see. Yeah. So let's go back to, where is it? I think. All right. So we have a couple things that are good in here. Let's handle that. So I like to commit things separately when things are separate. So I'm going to come in here and grab a couple of small fixes that we did while we were here. I think there was only one actually. It was just that one. Where is it? Where the heck did I lose it? Yeah, I'm going to do that because that. Separate little commit. There's not a lot more of that stuff to do here, but something. This got moved. That makes sense. I like to look through these things specifically and grab things. So if I accidentally added something that I didn't need to put in here, I can omit it. I don't want to do that. That's why you don't commit the whole file, because you don't want to accidentally do junk like that. Where is that at? That is in the resize. Of course, the resize is used everywhere. There it is. Create. It's not resize. And this should already work better, because it's like this should already work better on devices that by default do this, but it's something that we still need to be able to handle the case where, for whatever reason, it changes the device while or changes the number of swap images for some other system reason, and not because of a, not at startup, because the device is always like that. Let's see some of the other thing they posted. You're already checking weight fences before destroying or recreating resources there. We're not checking weight fences, I don't think. We're checking, where is it? We're checking here, device weight idle. I wonder, I would assume that this supersedes the fences, and that if the device is idle, the fences have been blocked. It's already weighted on the fences, because for the device to be idle, I believe that is completely, there's no rendering, everything's completed. So that's why it's not doing that. I mean, we could maybe do it out of just just being absolutely sure, but I don't think it's that. But there is something that we have seen some different behavior at places, so we could do that potentially. So something to consider here. What was that? What I wanted. I hate when Visual Studio does this. I copy and pasted just that, yet it copies the whole line. It's very annoying. No one wants the whole line. Oh, fingers failing me. Back to this. Three frames, that's all good. This is good. This is good. Good, good, good. Just kind of scanning these to make sure I don't spot something dumb while I'm doing this. I know I'm going fast, but it's, I'm so used to scanning code. I've been doing it since the 80s that I'm pretty used to jumping through this pretty quick. I just like to set eyes on any code that I change, just to be sure that I didn't miss something or mistype something or left some test code in place or something like that, even though this is not going to get committed yet, or not, it's not going to be submitted as a PR and if people are going to use it, I am going to create a draft PR so that anybody that needs to test something, they can actually do that. Okay. What was our issue? Issue 9,000. Wow, we're getting up there. I think I can do it like that. I will now commit that code. Oh, that's good, but I always double check my commit, make sure I didn't do something stupid. That's correct. I'm going to push this and then go, oh, annoying. I always do this. Gonna push that, and then I'm gonna go to my fork, which is not that. Xbox. And there it is. I'm going to make a pull request for it, but I'm going to make it just a draft. How did I do that? There we go. I do that. Okay, let's do that. Where did I lose? I lost it. To be precise, is when recreating okay. I like to sometimes tag these when it makes sense. 385 is past due. I agree. That sucks. Okay, so this should be okay as a draft PR. So now we have a draft PR, and they'll review it and they'll compile it and make sure that it didn't break anything, but at least we have that. And then this maybe allows someone to peek at it, you know, and maybe tell us whether, you know, things are working or not. So yeah, so okay. So we're getting to the end of this 2-hour session. Unfortunately, 30 minutes got eaten up by setting things up, but luckily the next time I jump on here, it'll already be set up. I don't think I have to, I'll have to make sure that I don't have a different, that I don't jump onto a different project in that same repo and have problems later. So yeah, so overall pretty good, I think, or things went pretty good. Oh, I should have done this a long time ago. I can put on AI generated music. Yeah, all right. Love it. Anyways, I was going to put up this, support MonoGame. That's still really important. The money going into MonoGame directly helps us be able to move forward on projects. We're getting near the end of the year. We're going to do another big funding push, but we're hoping that we can get 385 and the platformer demo or starter kit out here soon. And we have our open hours next Wednesday. I don't know if that's been announced yet, but it's always a week after we have our board meeting. So that'll be next Wednesday. I'll stop sharing my screen. And yeah, so thanks for showing up. I'm going to be definitely doing more of these just to get more interest and show people the inner workings of how difficult it is whenever we have a problem to solve. Someone has to sit down and actually solve them. I'm hoping that some feedback from this draft review will kind of help move things forward. And then next time I jump on here, I'll try to do that in the next couple of days. Just I have a pretty busy weekend. Next time we jump on here, I'm hoping that I can get this done so we can submit this and fix this. And I know that there's some other, there's a desktop PK label. Annoying. Should have known that. I guess that makes sense. There's a desktop PK label and not just the other. Where did I put that thing? There it is. Let's fix that label one minute. Desktop PK. I'm hoping that once you get this fixed, there's a couple other desktop PK issues that are out that we need to address. Well, maybe a lot of. Oh, those are. Okay, there's a good amount of them in here, but that's good. I mean, that's what we wanted to see. And some of these are kind of old. We'll have to look and see how many of these are actually still issues. Some of these are from June. Yeah, kind of older ones. Some are not really bugs, but just functionality we need to add. I guess this is really the big issue that kind of talks about the main problems. So yeah, all right. Thanks everybody. Anything else comes up, let us know. Hit us up on Discord. Can't see my screen anymore. Yeah, my screen's gone because I hid my screen. You should be seeing my face because I'm done. All right. Thanks everybody. I'm out here. Bye.